Is being a real man synonymous with aggression and dominance? This question has echoed through time, casting a long shadow on generations of men. The traditional concept of manhood, deeply ingrained in our society, often emphasizes attributes such as aggression, control, and an absence of emotion. It paints a picture of the stoic warrior, the unfeeling titan, the ruler who never sheds a tear. But is this the only way to be a man? Is this the only path to manhood? Should we continue to equate masculinity with a hardened exterior and an unwillingness to show vulnerability? These stereotypes, these traditional molds of manhood, can be damaging. They can confine men to a narrow path, restricting their emotional range and fostering a culture of violence and dominance. Men are taught to suppress their emotions, to always be in control, to never show weakness. This not only harms men themselves, but also impacts the relationships they forge, the families they raise, and the communities they live in. But what if we could redefine manhood? What if we could challenge these stereotypes and break free from these confining molds? What if we could create a new narrative for what it means to be a man? Imagine a world where manhood is synonymous with empathy, compassion, and nurturing, where men are encouraged to express their emotions freely, to share their vulnerabilities, and to care for others. This is not about stripping away the strength or courage that are often associated with manhood, but about broadening the scope of what it means to be a man. It's about recognizing that men, like all human beings, are complex creatures capable of a wide range of emotions and behaviors. By redefining manhood, we can begin to dismantle the harmful stereotypes that have been perpetuated for far too long. We can begin to create a world where men are not confined by narrow definitions, but are free to express their full humanity. But what happens when men break free from these traditional molds? Let's delve deeper into this in our next segment. Consider the stories of men who have chosen a different path. Picture, if you will, a man named Alex. Alex grew up in a neighborhood where toughness was the currency. He was raised to believe that to be a man you had to be tough, you had to be aggressive. But Alex, he chose to break that cycle. He realized that this definition of manhood, steeped in violence, was not the path he wanted to tread. Instead, he decided to embrace empathy, understanding, and care. He became an advocate for non-violence, a beacon of hope in his community, showing others that there's another way to be a man, a way that doesn't involve fists and fury. Then, there's the story of Michael. Michael was born into a family that was abusive. He was a witness to violence from a tender age. But Michael, he decided to be different. He decided not to be a product of his environment, but to rise above it. He sought help, he sought therapy, he sought to understand why his family was the way it was. And in that process, he learned to reject violence, to embrace compassion. Today, Michael is a loving father who teaches his children about the importance of kindness, of understanding, of empathy. And let's not forget about John. John was a man who, on the surface, seemed to have it all. A high-powered job, a beautiful family. But John was carrying a burden, the burden of anger, the burden of violence. He realized that he was becoming like his father, a man who ruled with an iron fist. But John, he chose to break that cycle. He sought help. He learned to manage his anger, to express his feelings in a healthy way. Today, John is a testament to the fact that it's never too late to change, to embrace a new definition of manhood, one that is steeped in care and understanding. These are just 3 stories, 3 men who chose a different path, 3 men who decided to redefine what it means to be a man. They chose to break the cycle of violence, to embrace care, to foster empathy and understanding. They chose to be examples, to be role models, to show others that there's a different way to be a man. There are countless stories like these, stories of transformation, stories of men choosing to redefine manhood, to break the cycle of violence and embrace care, stories of men choosing to be better, to do better, for themselves, for their families, for their communities. Stories of men who have chosen to reject the traditional definition of manhood and instead embrace a definition that is steeped in kindness, in understanding, in empathy. Their journeys are a testament to the fact that manhood is not defined by aggression, but by the courage to choose kindness and understanding. Redefining manhood doesn't mean rejecting strength, but reinterpreting it. Let's take a moment to consider what this truly means. What if strength wasn't about how much you can bench press or how many battles you've won, but rather about the depth of your empathy, the resilience of your spirit, and the courage to be vulnerable? The traditional notion of manhood has often been tied to physical prowess and dominance, but is that the full extent of what it means to be a man? Certainly not. Redefining manhood is about shifting this focus, about breaking down these outdated stereotypes. It's about recognizing that being a man is as much about emotional resilience as it is about physical strength. It's about understanding that empathy is not a sign of weakness, but a reflection of true strength. Now, imagine a world where men are not just allowed, but encouraged to express their emotions openly. A world where a man's worth is not measured by his ability to suppress his feelings, but by his capacity to understand and share the feelings of others. That's the world we're striving for. That's the power of redefinition. This shift has immense potential to positively impact men's mental health and relationships. When vulnerability is seen not as a flaw, but as a strength, men can begin to heal from the emotional isolation that traditional masculinity often imposes. They can foster deeper connections with their loved ones and cultivate a stronger sense of self-awareness and self-acceptance. Redefinition also paves the way for healthier relationships built on mutual respect and emotional honesty. It allows for love to be expressed freely, for conflicts to be resolved with empathy, and for bonds to be strengthened through shared vulnerability. So what's at the heart of this redefinition? It's about more than just challenging norms and breaking cycles. It's about creating a culture where men feel free to express their emotions and show compassion. And that, my friends, is a strength worth celebrating. Why should we care about redefining manhood? This question isn't just rhetorical, it's vital. It's a call to understand the importance of change in our perceptions, our behaviors, and our societal norms. Let's take a moment to reflect on the key points we've discussed so far. We've challenged traditional notions of manhood, shared stories of transformation, and explored the power of redefinition. But why does this matter? Why should we even bother to redefine manhood? The answer lies in the societal benefits that such a shift brings. When we redefine manhood, we create space for healthier relationships. We pave the way for dialogue, understanding, and empathy. We enable men to express their feelings openly, to seek help when needed, and to form deeper connections with those around them. Ultimately, we foster a society where emotional honesty isn't viewed as a weakness, but as a strength. But the benefits don't stop there. Redefining manhood also has the potential to decrease violence. By breaking the cycle of aggression often associated with traditional manhood, we can create safer communities. When we teach our young men that being strong doesn't mean being violent, we not only change their lives, but we also change the world around them. Moreover, redefining manhood leads to a more inclusive society. It dismantles harmful stereotypes and encourages acceptance of diverse masculinities. It allows for the recognition and respect of all identities, creating a society where everyone, regardless of their gender identity or expression, feels valued and accepted. In essence, the importance of change is about more than just redefining manhood. It's about challenging the status quo, it's about fostering growth, and it's about creating a society that embraces diversity and values empathy over aggression. Redefining manhood is not just about improving the lives of men, but creating a better world for everyone. It's a change that starts with us, with our actions, our attitudes, and our willingness to embrace a new definition of strength. It's a change that, ultimately, creates a ripple effect of positivity, acceptance, and understanding in our world. So what can you do to promote this change, you might ask? It's all about challenging harmful stereotypes and promoting positive definitions of manhood in our daily lives. Start by encouraging the men around you to express their emotions. It's okay to cry, to be vulnerable, to ask for help. These are not signs of weakness but of strength and courage. Reject violent behaviors, not just in the physical sense, but also in language and attitudes. Violence doesn't prove one's manhood, it only perpetuates a cycle of harm. Promote empathy. Understand that everyone has their own battles to fight. Encourage men to empathize with others, to listen and to care. Let's redefine manhood not as a rigid, unfeeling fortress, but as a space of understanding, compassion, and respect. Remember, every step towards redefining manhood is a step towards a healthier and more compassionate society. Let's take that step together today.